Robert Higgs wrote a book called Crisis and Leviathan, which is about how governments use a crisis to expand, right?
Mm.
And it was like this has been a perfect demonstration of how that works because this was a crisis, and every government in the world was like, "All right, time to jump into action." You know, they all took advantage of COVID to expand their reach. Just like here, and they took advantage of 9/11 to put in the TSA, so we have these like really restrictive travel, this travel security. And I was just flying. I was flying this weekend, and I was saying, you know, in the '90s we didn't have TSA. We didn't have all these federal
Mhm.
bureaucrats at the airports that you had to go through all this security. It's like once they put it in place, then they just leave it in place forever. They never shrink. And anyway,
Well,
and you don't get those liberties back. Like
Mm.
it's super annoying.
well, what's worse than that is, and I'm sure you'll relate to this being from Australia, is that psychologically, I can never explain to my daughter like what it felt like in the 90s prior to the Patriot Act, prior to all the shit that's come down during COVID.
Yeah.
I have no way to explain how that freedom actually felt. Like I genuinely feel oppressed over all the crap that's happened in the last 20 years. But how do you articulate that in a way? Because they've grown up on it. This is just normal for them. They don't understand just the little differences socially and culturally, how freeing those can be.
Mm. Yeah, even this mask stuff, I'm looking at the impact on children, and they've lost 2 years of schooling because they were shut down during the pandemic as well. And wearing these masks, they're saying that the speech impediments are on the rise, and they're more quiet because of wearing that over your face. Like it's child cruelty, quite frankly. And
Isn't it real hard to homeschool in Australia too?
yes, it's really difficult to homeschool. So there's so much government overreach that people that don't have any other options. So we are genuinely oppressed.
On the positive, for me, my kid is homeschooled, so she should be doing way better compared to most of the people in the world at this point. She doesn't have those 2 years she was held back, so hopefully
Yeah.
that works well in the job market for her.
Mm. But yeah, it is going to create a generation of it's just going to be different. And even the debt that I was talking about before, the $1 trillion debt that the next generation is going to be saddled with, like that's the kind of thing that keeps me up at night, which might sound a bit sad, but I despair for the future of my country, and that we are walking into tyranny and socialism. And I'm here screaming and trying to do everything I can to educate people, but it's going to be a long process, and we're going to learn the hard way.